I'm Alicia,
I'm Abby,
and this is
Mystic's Guide to the Universe, your guide to practical spirituality.
What do you think happens immediately when somebody dies? Each month I like to have a primary focus, and that's usually what we talk about during Circle. It's what our email blast is about. We've really been focused a lot on past lives this past month, and so I'm excited to kind of talk about what we've learned, what we've discovered, and some of our opinions that may have changed over the last month.
Yeah,
Circle was a lot of fun. Abby was able to take everybody into a deep hypnotic meditation, and they were able to visit some past lives. So that was a lot of fun. Everybody had a very interesting and profound experience. And I liked that we focused on what other cultures believe past lives are and then what we believe.
yeah,
There are some cultures and some beliefs that say if you do negative things in this lifetime, if you accrue bad karma, you're going to come back as something or someone that has to repay that karma. You're going to come back as somebody who is poor or sick or loses people very young or just can't catch a break. And then there are beliefs like what you and I believe that are everything is a choice. So it doesn't matter what you do in each lifetime, it all teaches you a lesson, and you come back over and over and over again to learn different lessons. And before you even come back, before you're even born onto this earth, or not even necessarily onto this earth, some lives are on other planets in other realities, but you know exactly what you're getting into before you come here. And then you make choices, because obviously free will is a thing. You make choices that will either teach you that lesson or you will avoid that lesson, and then it will just keep hitting you in the face over and over and over again, which I think we all have that, you know?
yeah, maybe one or two of us.
One and two of us.
So somebody at Circle had a really fair question.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I can't believe that I would have chosen this.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I choose this? And I was wondering if I could just share what my take on that was.
Yeah.
Even though, again, my take is not the take, it is just how I view it.
And as somebody who has done the work, done the research, has talked to so many different people, I mean, you are a hypnotherapist. You get to see people at their rawest form. And there's just a lot of synchronicities and similarities when it comes to people that have experienced past lives. So it's not that we're just, this is what we believe and we have no proof or backing behind it. This is what we have come up with because of the things that we've experienced through plant medicine, readings, meditations, shamanic journeys, hypnosis, all kinds of things.
Yeah, I like that. So just imagine this. You are an eternal soul who has no concept of time because you're not limited by time. There's a game to be played. There's so many levels of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only play the easiest levels for so long before you get bored as an eternal being. You're eventually going to want to start branching out and doing harder levels. And to you as an eternal being, 80 years is, I think the Bible refers to it as like a wisp of smoke or something.
Mm-hmm.
Look in the span of eternity, how quick this will be over, and enjoy it. So back to this being a game. Higher self, that's the player. We're the avatar. And eventually you're going to want to do harder levels. The levels do not take very long. The only thing is, when you're down here, you don't remember. That's why when people are like, why would I sign up for such a horrible life? It's like, well, you as yourself wouldn't, but your higher self, with all the time in the world, with all the lessons to learn, with all the video games to play, like, they're going to choose it.
When you're done here for us on planet Earth as Alicia and Abby, we'll go over to the other side and we'll either learn the lessons that we were supposed to learn, or we have the opportunity to come back and learn them again if we didn't learn them, or if we learned them but it brought up more questions and we have to go back and kind of figure more things out. Whatever it is, you get to decide if you're going to do that. Like, a lot of people will come down and they'll say, well, why would I choose to come down here and lose my mom at such a young age? Why would I come down here and choose to have a body that doesn't work correctly? Have a brain that's just a little bit short circuited? And yeah, it sucks sometimes, but it's all part of the lessons that you have to learn in order to have the human experience. And that is something that I think we take for granted a lot, is that we get to be here right now, having a human experience, being able to feel the emotions that we need to feel that we don't get to feel when we're on the other side. Feeling things like struggle and heartache, but also feeling things like true love and happiness and excitement, and getting to feel like what it feels like to be at an outdoor concert venue to your favorite band and you're in like row 4 and everybody is there for the same thing. And my girlfriend and I were just talking earlier today about how cute humans are. She was like, look at these humans. Like, they're so cute. They're planting flowers for the spring in front of their house to like make their space cute. They're buying new furniture to make the inside of their houses look nice and show their personality. They're getting tattoos and they're dressing in a way to make them stand out. And it's just, these are things that we only get to experience during our human life. These are things that we only get to have for a very short amount of time. And it really kind of shaped the way that I view life. Like, yeah, I have hard emotions sometimes. I have things that are hard. My body hurts sometimes. I'm sick sometimes. I want to scream into the void a lot. But in a very strange way, it's beautiful to be able to feel those emotions, because you get the hard ones and you also get the really, really good ones. And you actually told me, you and I were talking, I was having a really, really hard emotion. I was, what would be the word for it? I was mourning.
Yeah.
I was going through mourning for a connection that it was one of those things where this person came into my life to teach me a lesson. I learned that lesson and now I need to move on. And I was having such a hard time letting that go. And you actually sat right here where we're sitting right now. And you told me, I am so happy for you that you got to experience that emotion. You got to experience a type of love that a lot of people don't get to experience. And it was supposed to be temporary. And I'm happy for you as my friend that you got to experience that, because it's a beautiful thing to experience. And that really helped me to kind of put things into perspective. Like, yeah, what I'm going through right now sucks, but I have to go through this emotion right now in order to be able to feel the emotions that I had a couple years ago when I was with this person and they made me really happy. And now it's just not the case anymore. So it's hard when you're going through it. Your entire soul is being ripped out. But how beautiful is it that we get to experience loss for something that was so beautiful at one point? And we only get to experience that as humans. How beautiful is it to go to a restaurant and pay $20 for food and you take a bite and it fucking sucks? But on the other hand, we get to eat food. We don't get to eat food on the other side.
No. And also, like, I don't even know if I can say that there's joy and happiness over there, because there is, but it's more of a default setting. They don't have the sorrow. They don't have the...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, it makes it harder to enjoy what's there. And so our range of emotions as humans is more of a concept to them than an actual reality, which is why they come here.
Mm-hmm.
It's why they want to be here. And we've been saying like, oh, there's lessons you have to learn. I want to rephrase that and say there's lessons that you want to learn.
Yeah.
You're not here because you have to be. You're here because you want to be.
Like you said a minute ago about how when spirit is on the other side, when they're in that, whatever it is over there, even though we do this work for a living, we still don't know what the fuck's going on. We have no clue. But when they're over there and they're hearing about these human emotions and they're hearing about what it's like to have a human body and what it's like to, worry about your hair, or like right now I have a huge pimple on my chin and it's all I can think about. It's like, it's such a human experience, right? It's kind of like when we as Americans, we see all of these movies about like, I don't know, Paris, right? And it's like, oh my God, I want to go to Paris. We get there and it's like, what the fuck is this? But we want to be there so bad. But when we're there, it's like, this fucking sucks and I can't wait to go home. It's like they're watching us on their favorite TV show and they want to come experience it. Having the human experience does really suck sometimes.
As a human?
As a
Yes.
human. When spirit is watching us, it is kind of romanticized, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. That
Yeah.
makes sense. I'd never thought of it before, but
Me
that makes
neither.
sense.
I'm sure spirit is jealous of, not jealous. I'm sure spirit is.
Right, because that's a human emotion. They don't really feel that.
Exactly.
There's pretty much just a constant state of contentment,
Contentment. Yeah.
understanding, and light is a better word than joy or excitement or anything
Absolutely.
like that.
And I wouldn't want to just be content in my life. That's why I take the good with the bad. I went and I fell in love with the wrong person and I had the most amazing time. And then I had to mourn that and I had to move on from that and it sucked. I decided that I was going to eat everything in sight and I was going to just do whatever I wanted and be happy in my body. And then I gained a lot of weight and now I have to undo that. You know, I decided that I was going to grow up in a Christian household. I decided that before I came here that I was going to grow up in a Christian household. And now I have to undo that and I have to deconstruct that. It's like I could have just stayed right in the middle and I could have been happy the whole time. Happy enough, you know, but I'm so happy that I chose a lifetime and that I chose lessons that were very hard, but that brought so much human joy and light.
There's the idea that without the darkness, there's not really any reason for us to push ourselves. There's not really any reason to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
If where you are is a sunny paradise, why would you leave? Sometimes you've got to be made really uncomfortable to move.
The only growth that exists is in your discomfort. You're not going to grow if you're comfortable. You're not going to grow if you're content. You're only going to grow if you are able to experience the highs and the lows of human existence.
Which is so irritating, but you know.
Yeah. If you wouldn't have come into this lifetime to experience this, what are some of the highs and lows that you would have missed out on?
This friendship.
That's true. There were lows for you
In the friendship?
in the beginning.
I mean, I'm sure there's been lows for you. It's like, and that's okay. And
Yeah.
it's not really a low. It's just, okay, fine. There were some lows for me, but
Mhm.
that was more me working through my attachment issues. And if that hadn't happened, I would have suffocated you and we wouldn't have been friends.
Right, exactly. And I had to go through that. It wasn't, I mean, I was avoiding it, so it didn't feel like lows for me. But the beginning of our friendship, when I was running away from you, when you were trying to chase me, I had to learn that I can allow myself to be loved and I don't have to worry about getting hurt. Where you had to do kind of the opposite. Okay, I'm going to let you go and not going to smother you and you'll come back. And so here we are. So yeah, we would have missed out on that. Also, the highs and lows of parenthood.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of lows, but now we're getting to the highs. I am
No comment.
I am in the sweet spot of parenthood right now where my kids are chill. So easy now, but it was the first 10 years of parenthood. I literally wanted to blow my brains out.
Nobody's going to like that part.
It's the truth. It's the truth. I really did. Like, I was like, there were times where I woke up in the middle of the night. I'd wake up. It'd be like 4:00 in the morning. Everyone's asleep. And I'd be like, you know what? If I got in my car right now and I started driving south, by the time everybody woke up, I'd be halfway through Ohio. Nobody can catch me. I'll leave my phone at home. No one will know where I am. Like, I wanted to quit. But now it's like all paid off and I'm in the sweet spot. As much as breakups suck, we would have missed out on the highs and lows of relationships. And, you know, I've had some very bad relationships. I've had some wonderful relationships. Unfortunately, a lot of them had to end in a separation or a breakup. You know, now I'm living the polyamorous life of my dreams, but
I was only ever in one relationship where I loved my boyfriend.
are you married to him now?
Yes, I am.
That must be nice.
Yeah. He was only my second boyfriend, but the first one was like, you know.
A felon?
Actually, yes. I think you're thinking of the other one that I didn't officially date, but yes, he was also a felon.
Good for you. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
the highs and lows of, I know we talked about this a minute ago, but the highs and lows of good food. The highs of good food, are so good. There's this restaurant in Holland, Michigan that I went to during a very, very dark time in my life. And I took one bite. It was lemon chicken and lemon risotto. And I took one bite of it, and it was so good that I sat there and I sobbed at the table.
Oh boy.
I got up to about
You sobbed because it was so good,
I
or
did.
you sobbed because you were going through a hard time?
No, I sobbed because the food was so good. It was the only good thing in my life at that time.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
I'd love to sob over some lemon chicken.
Oh my God, it was so good. And it's like I've gone there since then and I've had it and it's been so good. But it's like the first time you have it, there's just something about it, you know? But that was also a time in my life where I was close to 300 pounds. So it's like the highs and lows of good food they're very extreme. The
Yeah.
highs are like, food so good, yum.
Yeah, there's got to be a balance.
Let's also talk about the highs and lows of our youth. Like being young and experiencing being young is incredible. And you and I didn't really get to do it the right way. So now I'm experiencing girlhood in my 30s and it's amazing and I'm having the time of my life. But with that comes being old. I mean, the alternative is you die young and nobody wants to do that. So you have to say goodbye to your youth and just accept that. Like for me, I have to accept that eventually I'm going to get tired. I'm going to move into my crone. Luckily, one of my best friends in the whole world is in her 50s and she is killing it. So I'm just going to kind of model my life after her. But saying goodbye to your youth is probably really hard. And we haven't had to experience that yet because we're young and youthful and we do have some gray hair and some wrinkles. I got Botox even though my guides told me not to. Guess what? I am youthful now.
Wrinkle your brow. They're going to be so mad at you.
To be fair, I had done it before. When you put me under hypnosis to visit some past lives, my higher self came through and told me not to get Botox. But I had just gotten it a couple days prior and it hadn't kicked in yet. So I haven't gotten it again. It's just, it kicked in. Let's talk about what we believe as far as reincarnation, what dying is like. Like, let's talk about what we think happens when this lifetime is over, when we've learned all of our lessons or not, and we transition over to the other side. I mean, you're a medium now, right? So you've talked to dead people. I've talked to thousands upon thousands of dead people. What do you think happens immediately when somebody dies?
They're greeted by their loved ones.
Agreed.
And if there's nobody there, like if nobody they loved had passed before them, then they're greeted by somebody that they will recognize.
I think that since all time is happening now, that they're actually greeted by other people who haven't technically died yet on our linear timeline.
Oh.
Because everybody's over there. Like,
I have gotten messages from people who are still alive.
me too. They're over there.
Yeah.
And that's our higher selves. And then I think that we get a little time to rest. We get a little time to reflect. This is what I think. Tell me if you disagree. But I've noticed that part of us kind of stays in that space. We live there forever. Like a small version of Alicia lives over on the other side, while my higher self, the person who I am at the source, like we all return to source, right? They get to decide if they're coming back. But a little piece of me, a little piece of Alicia, like not my soul, not my higher self, a little piece of this rendition of me lives on forever on the other side.
I do think that. I do think that all the versions of you continue to exist just as kind of a disco ball. A bunch of little pieces making up one thing.
Exactly. And then the big part of you, the source, gets to decide, hey, maybe it's time for me to go back and learn some more lessons and let's sit down and kind of see what I want to go through in this lifetime. And then you get to come back. I think what we believe here, I think it kind of teeters on New Age beliefs. Do you think that's accurate?
So I have actually settled on neo-paganism.
Okay.
Because it is a mixture of like the Eastern beliefs and the New Age beliefs and paganism.
Yeah. So let's talk about what we believe in. We say this 1,000 times. Just because this is what we believe does not make it the truth. Realistically, it probably isn't. there isn't one truth.
Everything is truth.
Everything is truth, and also nothing is true. Everything is made up.
Yeah, we create our own reality, so.
This is the reality that we have created.
Yep.
So we believe that reincarnation is not a requirement. You do not have to come back. That is totally up to you. 99.9% of the time, you will likely choose to come back and learn a new lesson because this is your favorite video game and you want to pop back in and play it. But you don't have to. You can turn off the console and go home if you want. We also believe that we return to these lives to live every single aspect of the human experience and to experience every single human emotion. I think it's very possible that every single person that's alive right now is part of the same source. Every single person has lived every single life. I think that's very possible. I don't know if it's true, but I think it's very likely. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, I lean towards the theory that we've all lived every single life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Source is the one that has experienced every single life through us. And we are technically connected to that.
Yeah.
So we can access. I mean, I've accidentally jumped into other people's experiences.
Sure. So have I.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah.
We also believe that returning to the human experience is about choice, not karma. If you're a shitty person in this lifetime, it doesn't mean that you're going to come back and be victimized in the next lifetime. It means that you are learning a lesson.
Unpopular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Shitty people are necessary.
Yep.
And some people come here to intentionally be shitty to someone.
Yep.
Have you ever read the books by Michael Newton?
Nope.
He was a hypnotist, hypnotherapist. He was a psychiatric doctor. He wrote a couple of books on his past life regressions where he ended up taking people too far back and they went through this experience of the time between lives.
Mm-hmm.
And he compiled all of these cases that connected people who never met. So in his books, he talks about how there are certain members of your soul group who will come here
Mm-hmm.
to be a hard ass or a pain in the ass or a problem for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, nobody could, be a bad dad to me as good as you could. And so they come down here to live that experience for us. And I think those are the real MVPs because
Absolutely.
Who wants to do that, honestly?
I think we've all taken our turn doing that.
Yeah.
I don't think I believe in karma the way that a lot of people believe in karma.
I agree. I tell my clients all the time, I say, karma is not a universal punishment. It's not a universal reward. It is the universe seeing what you're putting out, wanting to keep you wanting to keep you stable because the universe is all about consistency. So it sees you putting out a certain energy and it says, oh, that's what they need. So it sends that energy back to you.
Yeah.
So you're the maker of your own karma day to day. The universe does not differentiate between crap vibes and happy vibes.
Mm-mm.
It's like, oh,
Those are
there's
vibes.
that. Yeah, there's that vibration.
Yep.
I'm going to send that same vibration to that being because that's what they want.
Exactly. And think about the shittiest person you've ever met, the biggest asshole you've ever known in this lifetime.
Oh, man.
And think about the lesson that you learned from them. I learned patience from them. I learned how to just let somebody do their thing and know that it has nothing to do with me. And I apply that to a lot of my friendships in this lifetime. I also think that not all past lives are earthbound. I think that you can have past lives on another planet or in another reality. Or
I've had 3 different clients who had different planets in their past lives.
wow.
And one wasn't even a planet. They were just a ball of energy in the universe, zooming around with other balls of joyful energy.
I think a big one is that time is not linear. I think that all lifetimes and all timelines happen simultaneously.
My guides or my higher self, my subconscious showed me, those clear pieces of paper these clear transfer papers that you layer over top of each other and there's like one thing per paper, but you layer them all together and it creates a whole?
Yes.
So they were showing me all of the multiverse versions of myself walking around parallel to me. And they were saying, you're all one energy. You're all experiencing one thing.
Oh, that makes
so
perfect
like
sense.
I do think I do agree with what you were saying, but because I saw it in like this flip book transfer paper image, and I was like, that's so cool.
So if time isn't linear, and if all timelines and lifetimes are happening simultaneously, then it's pretty safe to say that some past lives are not in the past.
So yes, all of them are happening at once. Something that people ask me before we go look at past lives is, how do I know what lives I'm going to end up in? What lives am I going to see? And so what I usually ask them is, well, what's going on right now? What's going on in your life right now? What would make your life better? So what was yours as an example?
For when I did my session with you,
Yeah.
I wanted to know why I feel like I have to fix everybody.
Okay. So what we did is I had your higher self guide you to a life where that wasn't something you needed. What they ended up doing is they took you to a life where that wasn't even on your radar. Like, you were just the most content person ever, doing your little thing. So happy to just be of service, doing your thing, not worrying about fixing anybody. I have another person who they wanted to see a life where they were an ultimate badass. So we guided them into a life, and this actually ended up being on a different planet. What we do is we say, okay, I want you to embody everything that you feel in that life. Bottle that feeling up.
And I think a lot of times, if you can feel what it feels like to embody that version of yourself, you can embody that version here in this lifetime, in this timeline too.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to remember what it feels like, because that's what it is. It's a memory. You are remembering what it feels like to be that version of yourself. And you can be that version of yourself here if you want to, because it's already in there. It's part of you. Our past lives, our past, quote, past lives, they influence our current experience because they are happening at the same time as this lifetime is happening now. And I know it's kind of hard for our human brains to conceptualize that.
Yeah. So the way I see it is that it's like a circle. And when you're in time, you're in the flow of the circle.
Yeah.
But when you're not in a human body, not in a organic form, then you're in the center of the circle, which is outside of the realm of time, and you're able to see each and every point
Yes.
of time, and you can step in and out of that point of time anywhere you want to at any given moment.
And that's, that says a lot about free will too, because we also believe that while soul blueprints are created pre-birth in this lifetime, free will exists at every moment. So even if you come into this lifetime and you have a specific purpose, you don't have to follow that purpose. You don't have to learn that lesson. You have free will the entire time. You can change the things that are supposed to happen or the things that were meant to happen and learn a different lesson. Okay, another thing that we believe is that certain lives are aligned with specific soul contracts. So this is kind of where soulmates, twin flames, because we do believe that your soulmates and your twin flames, sometimes they do return lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And just as a little quick disclaimer, your soulmates do not have to be romantic. Your twin flames do not have to be romantic. They can be completely platonic. They can be your children. They can be your parents. They can be partners. You travel in each of these lifetimes on all of these different layers upon layers upon layers with some of the same people, with some of the same souls. And even though at the very, very like tippy top of that ladder, you're all the same anyway, down here they do kind of split off into different branches of the same tree, and you get to experience life with them over and over and over and over again.
I just want to insert that you can break a soul contract.
100%.
Yeah, you come in with the best of intentions, but if something's happening, it's super toxic or whatever, you have control, more control than you think you do. You just need to be aware of the fact that if you choose to check out, break a contract, dismiss something, say, if I agreed to this before, I don't agree to it now, please don't do it. You need to be aware that you might get back to the other side and be like, crap, I've got to do it again.
Yeah. And sometimes your lesson in this lifetime is to break that soul contract that has been with you over and over and over again. And it's like, okay, it's time to break that cycle. You can do that with people. You can do that with attachments. You can also do that with different lessons, fears, karmic cycles, whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person that you're breaking this past life connection with. It can be a habit. It can be a belief. It can be anything. You can literally just do the work, do the shadow work, and just say, yeah, I don't think I want to carry that with me in this lifetime. And then you don't have to.
Right.
We believe that the goal of returning is obviously learning lessons, but it's also soul alignment and wholeness and being present and being empowered in your present moment. That is also another thing that we only get to experience as humans, is to be grounded and to be present in this current moment, because this current moment only exists right now. It only exists as we're human, and it's all happening at the same time. But this experience, this version of us, is only happening right now, and we get to experience that. And so the goal is just being aligned and being present. We always say that being on earth is it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a journey. It's supposed to be like a ride, a game.
Yeah, but sometimes the game's really
Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it's still part of it, even if it sucks.
There are situations that are going to be awful, but those are situations. You can choose to let them color the rest of your life as awful, or you can choose to focus on the glimmers. You can choose to let yourself enjoy a sunny day. Spend time with friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, I don't have any friends and family, go make some.
Exactly.
Heal the parts of yourself that are pushing those people away. Because if you have 0 friends and 0 family, it's time to start looking at you and saying, is there something that I need to work on to draw people in?
And that's where hypnosis and stuff comes in too, because you can go into a past life hypnosis and say, I want to learn why I can't keep relationships, why I can't keep a job, why all of my family has left me, or, why I'm so lonely and isolated in this lifetime. And chances are you're carrying that with you from past lives. And you can learn why that is, what the lesson in that is, and how to heal it in this lifetime. And some other things that we can learn from our past lives, obviously, is releasing emotional baggage. That's huge. Recognizing soul contracts, breaking cycles and patterns, understanding fears and phobias. That's a big one. A lot of people are like, why am I scared of heights? Is it because I fell off a bridge in a past life? Or why am I scared of drowning? Did I drown in a past life? And a lot of times, sure, maybe. But I think more so, those things represent bigger lessons in other lifetimes. It's not like, oh, I'm scared of drowning because I was in the Titanic. It's usually something much bigger. Do you agree?
Yes. I realized something about us.
What did you realize?
I realized why we came into this life Christian, and I realized why we've been through so much shit.
Okay, tell me.
So we came into this life as Christians, I think, because one, we were getting a lot of spiritual training and leadership training that we didn't realize we were getting. For what purpose.
Right.
And we were going to be doing work. We were going to be healing people. We were going to be leading groups. And we needed all that background to keep ourselves from accidentally becoming a cult or purposely becoming a cult. I mean, who knows if we hadn't grown up in something slightly like it, because I'm not going to say that it was a true cult, because there are people that have suffered horrible things.
I think that just because one cult is worse than another one doesn't negate the fact that there are multiple cults.
Okay, that's fair. So in the end, I think it was to keep us from accidentally or purposely doing that. And then we've been through so much crap. I don't think we'd be as good at holding space for people if we hadn't. There's people dealing with really big things, and they need somebody who's been through really big things to understand the magnitude of what they're going through.
There are a lot of things that you can learn from exploring your past lives. And that's why I think it's so important to sit down and do meditations and visualizations and interpret your dreams. And even like for you, to lead somebody through like a guided past life regression or a hypnosis for them to visit their past lives, that's so healing. It's really kind of a game changer for a lot of people. Also, like, you can always visit your past lives during a plant medicine ceremony if you choose to do that, if that's your intention. And there could be a lot of healing there too. You could also do divination, get a reading, find somebody to go into the Akashic records and find out what's going on in there. There are a lot of different ways that you can explore your past lives, and doing that brings a lot of healing into this lifetime. And so that's why we're so passionate about learning about past lives and understanding them. When I did my hypnosis with you just a few weeks ago, I went into it with a very clear intention. I wanted to know, why do I feel like I need to fix everybody or control everybody or hold space for everybody in this lifetime? I feel such a burden to just help everybody and to be there for everybody, and I can't tell people no. And so you took me to this past life where I was this man, like this bald man, and his entire job, his entire purpose in his lifetime was to show up at the cathedral. He worked at a cathedral. Was to show up at this cathedral before everybody else and light all the candles before people came in. And that was his entire job. And he was so fulfilled in that. He was so happy to just be the person to light the way for other people. And I carry so much of him in this lifetime, and I feel like it's my job to light the way for other people. And I really thought that it was something that I could heal. Like, I could go in and be like, oh, I don't have to fix everybody. But instead it just kind of reinforced the fact that, like, I'm good at lighting the way for other people. And so I've embraced it instead of being resentful of it. I love holding space for people, and I feel like that is 100% my calling in this lifetime. But I wanted to know why it felt so important. And I know that I was put here to do that, and I'm so thankful that I was put here to do that. But, you know, it's a big burden sometimes, and I just kind of wanted to know why I chose to take on that burden in this lifetime, and now I know. We know that understanding how timelines and lifetimes work is very confusing, and I know that a lot of people are probably listening to this like, no, I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's what I believe, and that's totally fine. Whatever your reality is important, and whatever you believe is important, and it's probably true. We want you guys to know that we are holding space for you in this lifetime, and hopefully in every single lifetime. Hopefully everybody who is listening to this was part of my congregation at the cathedral, and I lit all the candles for you before you showed up. I sincerely hope that we have been a part of each other's lives in every single one that we've experienced. And I know for a fact that we're going to hold space for you in this one. So if you guys need anything, please reach out to me or Abby, and we're here for you.
This has been Mystic's Guide to the Universe. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.